Honorable Chairman, sir, thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak on this historic debate on this bill, which is going to bring our most marginalized Muslim brethren on the road to progress and prosperity, and also emancipation. Sir, I completely support this Waqf Amendment Bill, which is not only progressive and much needed reform, but it seeks to bring greater transparency, efficiency, and inclusivity in the management of Waqf properties across the country. And, sir, a quote comes to my mind of Victor Hugo, a famous author, British author. Nothing else in the world is so powerful as an idea whose time has come. Sir, the time has come. Bharat is poised and is on the threshold of greatness under the dynamic leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister. And, sir, we are the world's largest democracy, and we have a robust system of law. And with the Constitution which reigns supreme, sir, the legal maxim, less injusta non ex less, means unjust laws are not laws. So that says it all, sir. Laws which are not for the benefit of the people and which are not in sync with the Constitution and which are not in sync with time should be done away with. The irrelevant portions should be done away with, and we have done with. Our Honorable Prime Minister has had the courage to do all those progressive reforms during the past 10 years, of which we are all very proud. Mr. Speaker, sir, nobody has had the courage and the willpower to do this. And, sir, I was listening to the debate today, the whole day. Everybody talked about this bill being religious. This bill is not religious. There is no religion in this bill. And like I heard the debate yesterday of Lok Sabha, wherein Mr. Amit Shah very clearly stated that the Waqf Trust is based on the Islam faith, but the trust functioning is based on administrative work. So this is a statutory body. And I don't understand why the fear-mongering and why all the time they are bent upon seeing to it that this particular community does not come up. So all those marginalized Muslims who have not had the benefit of this Waqf benefits, where will they go? Women, for example, we have seen that for the first time women have been brought in because our Prime Minister believes in women empowerment. So I'm not going to go into the details because I don't have the time, because Rijuji, our Honorable Minister, very lucidly pointed out all the aspects, and once one heard him in the morning, it was all very clear. And I think the common man on the street will understand that this bill is being brought in only to rectify what ought to have been done a long time ago. This bill, Mr. Chairman, sir, has been brought in because there was rampant corruption in the Waqf properties, and it was monopolized by powerful elites amongst the Muslims, while the poorest amongst them, particularly the Bohras and the Pasmandas and women, had been deprived of their benefits. According to the Sachar Committee report, sir, at that time in 2006, 4.9 lakhs of Waqf land across India remains mismanaged. 70% of it is unutilized. How criminal can it be? This is what had been happening, and it was time to rectify this. As we know, law is an evolving process, sir. Law is never static, and law has to change according with times. And this is what we are seeking to bring. And this time, sir, with this bill coming in, I'm sure that the women of this country will have their proper share. And as the great reformer Begum Ruqayya Sakhawat Hussain once said, if a woman is educated, an entire family is liberated. Sir, let it be known that true progress cannot exist without gender equality. When women lead, communities thrive. This is a known fact. And that is why our Honorable Prime Minister believes in the complete empowerment of women. So it's a shame when we see the statistics, how, according to the National Commission of Women, 2020, only 3% of Waqf-funded educational institutions are for girls. As per NSSO 2019, 87 of Muslim women artisans in UP and Bihar live below the poverty line and with no access to Waqf-funded skill centers. Pasmanda Muslims, especially, who form 85% of the community, receive less than 5% of the Waqf benefits. So, and of course, the amendment of 2013, I should not forget to talk about that. The draconian Section 40 is being done away with because it gives ultimate power to decide the nature of the Waqf property. According to subsection 1, the Waqf board may itself collect information regarding any property which has reason to believe it to be a Waqf property. That means that they can go anywhere and put their hand on it and say that this is a Waqf property. Nobody can stop them. Also, the tribunal, sir, which had no appeal against it, has now the entire this thing. It has been proposed in the bill that the appeal will lie to the High Court. So I'm not going to take much long time because I know I've been allocated only 5 minutes. In the end, I would only like to say, sir, that the time has come and we have a decisive and strong leader whose only mantra is nation first. And he has the power to implement and progress the reforms in this country. We must be thankful to him. And also, sir, it is only because of the divisive policies followed by the opposition, honorable members of the opposition, that we stand here today and all the benefits which ought to have been accrued to them have not been done. Sir, I'll just finish with the lines. They do all this rumor mongering and fear mongering, sir. I would like to tell them, दिलों में हबे वतन है अगर तो एक रहो, निखारना ये चमन है अगर तो एक रहो, नहीं तो खत्म हो जाओगे. बनाना है हमें अब अपने हाथों अपनी किस्मत को, हमें अपने वतन का आप बेड़ा पार करना है. So let this bill be a revolution, sir. Let this be a dawn of true secularism. And let this be real empowerment and also complete unity of this country. Thank you, sir.